David Benavidez is a bad, bad man. What he's just done to Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez, the world champion, the unified world champion, the natural cruiserweighter, and David Benavidez has stepped up, underweight, undersized, first fight at cruiserweight, and has not only beaten Zurdo Ramirez, but he's absolutely demolished him. Dropped him twice in this fight. Up until now, Zurdo Ramirez had only been dropped once in his whole entire illustrious career, and that was back in 2011. 15 years without being dropped. And David Benavidez not only dropped him once, he dropped him twice, and he finished him within 6 rounds, crowning himself a 3-division world champion and the new unified cruiserweight world champion. Before we get into it all, can you all please head down the bottom there, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave all your thoughts in the comments below. A 6-round demolition job from the hands of David Benavidez, a spanking, an absolute beatdown, 2 knockdowns, an eye swollen shut, a nose broken, and Zurdo Ramirez says no mas. He gives up at the very end of the 6th round, doesn't even make it halfway through, and David Benavidez, now a 3-weight world champion, one of the pound-for-pound greats of this generation. And, you know, we saw a pound-for-pound great last night in Naoya Inoue, but what we just saw from David Benavidez was nasty. That is why he's called the monster. And you know what? I probably fear him more than a monster, because this guy here, the speed, the power, the precision is just way too much. And David Benavidez, like I keep saying, undersized, a small fighter in his first fight at cruiserweight up against Zurdo Ramirez, who is a massive, massive dude. To administer that type of beatdown is unbelievable. Before we talk about this fight, though, I do want to talk about this whole entire card, because Cinco de Mayo, a celebration of Mexican boxing, and that's what we had today. Every single fight on this card was entertaining. That Tito Sanchez fight against Chavez, the Fierro fight against Duarte, Munguia spanking Resendez, and it all finished off with the monster running through Zurdo Ramirez. And you know what? If you wanted to encapsulate what Mexican boxing is all about, it's right there. That card shows you what Mexican boxing is, the culture, and the history of Mexican boxing, and how it's built some great boxers over the years. So I do want to just say that about this card. It was an unbelievable celebration of Mexican boxing. The boxers all showed up today, put on unbelievable fights, and it was all headlined by the big man, David Benavidez. And, you know, 6 rounds. And what we noticed about those 6 rounds were David Benavidez on the back foot for a lot of it. There was a lot of the time in that fight he was actually on the back foot, but it was the power that he was able to punch at, but more than that, it was the speed. Zurdo Ramirez was just getting beaten to every single punch by David Benavidez, and it wasn't beaten by one. It was getting beaten by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punches before Zurdo Ramirez was throwing his 1, 2, or 3. And every single time, Benavidez quick to that punch, and they had snap on him, they had power on him, they hurt Zurdo Ramirez multiple times. And what I noticed was, at the end of every single round, he did the same thing. He did this quick flurry of 8 to 10 quick hooks. You know, that quick boom, 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 that Dave Benavidez sends out. And he did it at the end of every single round. The first round, it looks good. The second round, it looks good. The third round, it looks good. The 4th round, it drops him. The 5th round, Dave Benavidez kind of took the 5th round off. That was the only round that I actually gave to Zurdo Ramirez. And following that knockdown, you thought it was going to be quick work from Benavidez, but Zurdo Ramirez just turned it around, had a good round, and I thought, all right, we're going to be in here for the long haul. Zurdo Ramirez turned around, but then in round 6, Dave Benavidez goes back to work, and once again, it's that quick flurry combination right at the end of the round that finishes off Zurdo Ramirez. It was that big left hook that lands on an already swollen eye, and I think the pain, the power that was getting administered, the speed Dave Benavidez was working in, you could tell Zurdo Ramirez, he was no match for it. And he just says, I've taken enough punishment. My nose is broken. I can't breathe. My eye is swollen. I can't see. Let's call it a day. It's finished job. And that is what David Benavidez is. He was probably undersized in terms of heavy hands. I thought Zurdo Ramirez, how big he was, the power that he has, although the punches coming slowly are the heavier handed punches. But the fact that David Benavidez is so quick to the punch, counter punching, attacking punches, he's getting hit before he even sees the punch coming, and that hurts just as much. And you saw the damage done to Zurdo Ramirez. I think it might have been an uppercut that he ripped that broke the nose. It was definitely those right hands and those left hooks that did the eye of Zurdo Ramirez. And we're not even talking about the body work from David Benavidez. David Benavidez was ripping outrageous left hooks to the body, following him with left hooks to the head. And Every single angle, every single punch, everything was done from David Benavidez with a plan, in combination, with precision, and most importantly, like I keep saying, the speed. And Zurdo Ramirez, absolutely no match for David Benavidez. One good round, and that was a round that I thought David Benavidez kind of took off. Zurdo Ramirez walked him down a little bit, threw some good combinations, didn't win it by a mile, but definitely won it. But David Benavidez, front foot, I questioned his back foot play before this fight. You can go check on my preview. I said I don't think David Benavidez is going to be able to outfight him that well on the back foot. He'll be able to do well, but I think he'll be, it'll be back and forth. He won't always have the best of it on the back foot. He was unbelievable on the back foot, great on the front foot, and that pace, that speed, the fact that he's able to now transfer it up to cruiserweight is unbelievable, because I think everybody coming into this fight was saying, Dave Benavidez is good, but is that power, is that speed transferable all the way up at cruiserweight? And we know it works at super middleweight. It was good at light heavyweight, but can it go? And fuck me, does it go? He purposely came into this fight undersized. He knew his opponent, Zurdo Ramirez. Now, this isn't going to work every single time, but coming in undersized, being able to just outwork, outpace, and outthrow Zurdo Ramirez is what won him that fight. But for an undersized David Benavidez, the pop on those punches, I'd hate to see what David Benavidez punches like at a full, filled-out cruiserweight. What is next for David Benavidez? Now, that's the big question. A demolition job today. Who's next? Now, I think we all know that he's going to probably drop down to light heavy. That sounds like the plan. I want him to stay a cruiser and take on Jai Bataille. I think that fight is unbelievable, but there's just too much going on there with Jai and Zuffa. The IBF belt's gone. I don't see that the road Zurdo taking, because there's not a lot to gain. You're not unifying another belt. You have a chance to drop down and fight Dimitri Bivol, who is a pound for pound great, versus him for undisputed. That's the fight to take. Now, obviously, he's going to have to wait on the sidelines a little bit. I expect Bivol to get through Eifert. I expect then Bivol to take on Beterbiev. I expect Bivol to beat Beterbiev. It's not a guarantee. Nowhere near a guarantee. But Bivol versus Beterbiev happens, and then Benavidez stepped in. That could be a long waiting time. So for David Benavidez, maybe he does take a Noel Mikhailian fight in the meantime. Maybe he does take a Jai Bataille fight just to put that name to bed. We're going to have to wait and see. There's plenty of options out there. It did annoy me that as soon as he got asked, he called out Canelo Alvarez. We've been over this 100 times. We're going to keep going over it. Didn't happen years ago. It's not going to happen now. I just don't ever see Benavidez taking on Canelo Alvarez. Why would Canelo Alvarez now, after getting destroyed by Terence Crawford showing way too much speed for him, why would Canelo now go and take on that monster and David Benavidez, who is young, unbelievably quick, and more powerful and bigger than Terence Crawford? I just don't see it happening. So for David Benavidez, I think the two names will be Dimitri Bivol. You know what? I say two names. It'll be Dimitri Bivol or a fighter at cruiserweight. Which fighter, I don't know. If I was to guess, I'd probably say Noel Mikhailian. And the reason I say Noel Mikhailian, it's not because of the name. It's not because of what that fight does for David Benavidez. It's purely because Noel Mikhailian has the WBC belt. We know the WBC love working with the Mexican fighters. I think the WBC would happily make that fight happen. I want to see David Benavidez take on Dimitri Bivol. That fight there, if David Benavidez isn't already considered a pound-for-pound great and one of the best of this era, going and beating Dimitri Bivol will 100% certify that. Not only certify it, but boost him massively. It'll go into another stratosphere of what we think of David Benavidez, because Dimitri Bivol, one loss in his resume to Beterbiev, but I mean, Dimitri Bivol versus David Benavidez, that fight there is top tier. That is one of the fights that you happily travel across the world to go and watch, because Dimitri Bivol hosts a whole different style as well for David Benavidez. We knew Zurdo Ramirez today was going to be quite a stationary target, a target that was going to be in front of David Benavidez. How does David Benavidez fight a guy that is constantly bouncing around you, constantly moving, never a still target? How do you land those flurries? How do you press this guy against the ropes? How do you fight against that style? I think just on the eyes, it would be a feast. I think trying to work out who's going to win that fight will be a great conversation, and that's the fight I want to see. But today, what a performance by David Benavidez. The other guy I want to say a big performance to was Jaime Munguia. Now, I tipped Jaime Munguia to beat Resendez. I thought it was almost a guarantee. I think Resendez is a good win over Caleb Plant, but I actually think Caleb Plant's performance in that fight is now going to be even worse. Like, people are going to look at that Caleb Plant performance against Resendez and say, what the fuck were you doing, considering what Jaime Munguia just did to Resendez? A shutout. It was lopsided. You could argue to give Munguia every single round of that fight. It was one-way traffic. He beat him on the front foot. He was unbelievable just standing on the ropes, counter-punching him. I thought the jab snapped his head back heaps and heaps of times. The body work and the combinations from Jaime Munguia, he looked very, very good. So big props to Jaime Munguia. Another world championship for him. I think it's been 8 years since he won his last world title, or he held a world title last. So a long time in between drinks, but good work from Jaime Munguia. Oscar Duarte, very, very lucky to get through that fight against Fierro. That Sanchez finish on Chavez, unbelievable. But we're going to talk about all those fights during the week. So if you aren't already subscribed, please do head down there, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to release a video talking about all the fights from the weekend. So that'll be this one, the Japan card, and the Wolverhampton. That was Conor Walker versus Sam Eggington. We're going to talk about all three of those cards. We're also going to preview the fight night on Wednesday, which is Nikita Tszyu and Oscar Diaz. So make sure you tune in, you are subscribed, so you catch that video later in the week. But for now, guys, like the video. Let me know what you thought of David Benavidez. What does this fight do for his resume? I mean, he just destroyed Zurdo Ramirez, who up until this point only one defeat on his resume, multiple division champion, unified champion at cruiserweight. It's an unbelievable win. Let me know what your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here, guys. See ya.